Over 2,000 years ago, the Roman Empire was ruled by an extraordinary emperor whose story reads like the pages of an epic novel. This was Marcus Aurelius, not merely a ruler of vast territories, but a philosopher king whose profound wisdom and serene demeanor set him apart in a time of brutal conquests and palace intrigues. Imagine a leader who wielded not just the sword, but the power of Stoic philosophy, guiding his empire with both might and mind. His reign was marked by an aura of respect so intense that both allies and adversaries looked to him with reverence. In today's world, where chaos often reigns and respect can be hard to earn, the lessons from Marcus Aurelius are not just historical footnotes, but essential tools for anyone looking to stand out as a leader or simply be more influential in their daily interactions. This video will delve into 8 specific strategies inspired by Marcus himself that can dramatically enhance how you command respect, transforming not only how others perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. I have personally woven these ancient strategies into the fabric of my everyday life, experiencing firsthand their power to change the dynamics of interactions at work and in personal relationships. These are not just theories, they are practical actions that can lead to real and profound changes in your life. Get ready to embark on a journey back in time that will equip you for a better tomorrow. Whether you're looking to lead with more authority, maintain poise in challenging situations, or simply inspire more admiration among your peers, the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius has the answers. Let's unlock these secrets together and step into a world where respect is not demanded, but effortlessly attracted. Number 1. Embrace calm movements. In the world of constant hustle where everything demands urgency, slowing down might seem counterintuitive. Yet there lies profound strength in the deliberate calmness of our actions. This notion is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, which teaches us that the control over our movements reflects mastery over our minds, a true sign of wisdom and composure. When you observe individuals who are highly respected and carry an aura of authority, you'll often notice their movements are measured and intentional. Consider a seasoned chess player who thoughtfully touches each piece, contemplating their next move with a cool demeanor. Their calm isn't just a show of confidence in their strategy, it's a tactic to unsettle opponents, projecting an image of unwavering control. Similarly, when leaders, whether in boardrooms, at public speaking events, or even in casual social settings, move with poise, they command attention and respect effortlessly. This isn't about mimicking slow motion, but rather embracing a pace that allows you to remain aware and present in every situation. It's the difference between reacting impulsively under stress and responding with thoughtfulness. The slow, assured handshake of a business leader meeting a new client sends a silent message of confidence and builds trust more effectively than a hurried, distracted interaction could. The power of calm movements extends beyond just physical motions. It influences our mental responses. For example, during negotiations, those who take a moment to pause and consider their responses are often seen as more credible and composed. This reflects the Stoic practice of withholding immediate reactions, which allows for better decision-making and displays a level of sophistication in handling complex interactions. Now, integrating this into your daily life doesn't require monumental changes. It starts with small, everyday interactions. Next time you find yourself in a stressful situation, try consciously slowing down your movements. If you're running late, instead of letting panic dictate your actions, take a deep breath and maintain your usual pace. This helps in maintaining a clear head to think about the best course of action without letting stress take over. The effects of such changes are more profound than one might assume. They not only enhance how others perceive you, but also improve your own self-regulation, a core component of Stoic philosophy. By controlling your external movements, you are subtly training your mind to manage your internal emotional states. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions, but understanding and channeling them through a filter of calm and control. In a world that often equates busyness with productivity and worth, choosing calm and deliberate actions is a powerful stance. It sets you apart as someone who is not easily overwhelmed and who values quality and mindfulness in their actions, traits that naturally draw respect and admiration. So as we navigate through our fast-paced lives, let's remind ourselves of the wisdom in calmness. By embracing this Stoic practice, we not only enhance our interactions with the world around us, but also cultivate a serene inner world. This dual impact enriches our lives, making us not just respected figures, but also balanced and happy individuals. Remember, the calmest person in the room is often the one who has the most control, not just over themselves, but often over the outcome of situations. Number 2, maintain steady eye contact. Eye contact is like a silent conversation, an unspoken exchange that says much more than words often do. It's a fundamental element of effective communication, fostering connection and understanding between individuals. While the eyes are often termed the windows to the soul in the context of leadership and respect, they could well be considered the doors to trust and influence. Think about when you're engaged in a casual chat with a friend or discussing a critical business matter. The moments where you lock eyes tend to be those where you feel most heard and valued. This isn't coincidental, but a testament to the power of eye contact in human interactions. Maintaining steady eye contact signifies that you are fully present and invested in the interaction, which naturally encourages the other person to reciprocate with equal attention and respect. This practice aligns closely with Stoic principles that emphasize mindfulness and presence. By maintaining eye contact, you are practicing external control, which reflects an internal state of focus and calm. It's about being fully in the moment, an essential trait for anyone looking to lead or influence effectively. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and how we engage with others through our days is certainly a powerful tool at our disposal. Let's illustrate this with a common scenario. Imagine you're at a networking event. The room is buzzing with conversations. And you're introduced to a potential key contact. As you discuss possible collaborations, maintaining steady, calm eye contact can set you apart from others who may glance away, check their phones, or look over shoulders for the next handshake. Such undivided attention can make the person feel respected and valued, laying the groundwork for a strong professional relationship. Moreover, steady eye contact is not just about professional settings. It plays a crucial role in personal relationships too. When family members or friends are discussing something close to their hearts, looking them in the eyes as they speak can make them feel supported and understood. It's a simple yet profound way to strengthen bonds and show that you care. However, it's important to remember that effective eye contact is not about staring intently without break, which can come off as aggressive or uncomfortable. Instead, it's about finding a balance where your gaze is steady but gentle, assertive yet inviting. It involves occasionally breaking eye contact in a natural, thoughtful manner to keep the interaction comfortable and positive. Integrating steady eye contact into your daily interactions also enhances your ability to read and respond to non-verbal cues. Often a person's eyes can communicate much about their feelings and reactions which words might not fully capture. By paying attention to these subtle signals, you can respond more empathetically and effectively, aligning your words and actions with the needs and emotions of the conversation. Number 3, stay non-reactive in conflict. Conflict is an inevitable part of life, but how you respond to it defines your character and determines the outcome. Staying calm and non-reactive during these moments is key. Isn't about suppressing emotions or appearing indifferent. It's about choosing a response that aligns with your values and serves a constructive purpose. The Stoics believed that while we can't control the actions or words of others, we can absolutely control how we react to them. Think about a time when someone raised their voice at you, perhaps in a heated disagreement or during a moment of frustration. The instinctive reaction might have been to raise your voice back or lash out defensively. But what if instead you paused, took a breath, and responded in a measured tone? The shift in dynamics is almost immediate. By refusing to match the other person's emotional intensity, you de-escalate the situation and regain control of the interaction. This ability to remain non-reactive in conflict requires practice and self-awareness, both central to Stoic philosophy. The Stoics often spoke of imagining yourself as a rock in the sea, a steadfast presence that remains unmoved, no matter how turbulent the waves around it become. When you adopt this mindset, you become someone who cannot be easily provoked or swayed, earning respect and authority in the eyes of others. One practical way to cultivate non-reactivity is to remind yourself that the actions or words of others are not personal. They're often a reflection of their own struggles, emotions, or perceptions. For instance, if a colleague criticizes your work in an unkind way, it's easy to feel attacked. But pausing to recognize that their words may stem from stress or insecurity allows you to respond with clarity and professionalism, rather than defensiveness. Another example could be in personal relationships. Imagine a partner or close friend says something hurtful during an argument. Reacting impulsively might escalate the conflict, potentially leading to words or actions you later regret. However, choosing to step back, both physically and emotionally, gives you the space to reflect and respond with empathy. A calm response like, "I understand you're upset. Let's talk about this when we're both calmer," can redirect the conversation toward resolution rather than further division. The Stoics also advocated for the practice of perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? This simple question can often diffuse the intensity of the moment, helping you prioritize what truly deserves your energy and attention. Many conflicts that seem significant in the heat of the moment lose their power when viewed through the lens of time. Staying non-reactive doesn't mean being passive or avoiding confrontation. It's about engaging with conflict thoughtfully. When you maintain your composure, you set the tone for the interaction, demonstrating leadership and emotional intelligence. This approach not only resolves conflicts more effectively, but also enhances how others perceive you as someone who is capable, grounded, and wise. Number 4, adapt to your audience. Every interaction is a unique opportunity to connect with others, and the key to making those connections meaningful lies in understanding your audience. Whether you're addressing a large crowd, having a one-on-one conversation, or simply sharing ideas in a team meeting, tailoring your approach to fit the people in front of you is one of the most effective ways to build respect and trust. This is not about being inauthentic. It's about meeting people where they are to ensure your message resonates. Imagine being at a family gathering where you're discussing an important topic. If you use technical jargon or overly formal language, your relatives might tune out or feel alienated. But if you simplify your ideas and relate them to shared experiences or family values, they're more likely to engage and respond positively. The ability to adjust how you communicate based on who you're speaking to is a skill that can transform not just conversations but relationships. The Stoics understood the importance of empathy and practicality in communication. They emphasized the need to listen actively and observe others to better understand their perspective. For example, if you're mentoring a new team member at work, take time to learn about their background and experience level. If they're new to the field, break concepts down into simpler terms and encourage questions. On the other hand, if you're discussing the same topic with a seasoned expert, you might dive deeper into technical details and focus on collaboration rather than instruction. A great way to practice adapting to your audience is by observing their body language and tone. Are they nodding along or looking confused? Are they leaning in to listen or glancing around the room? These subtle cues can give you immediate feedback about how your message is being received, allowing you to adjust in real time. For instance, if someone seems disengaged, asking a question like, "Does this make sense to you?" or "What are your thoughts on this so far?" can help re-engage them. In public speaking, this principle becomes even more critical. Addressing a group of students, for example, might require using stories and relatable examples to keep their attention, while a presentation to senior executives may call for concise, data-driven insights. The content doesn't change in essence, but how you frame it does, ensuring it lands effectively with your audience. One of the most important aspects of adapting to your audience is recognizing that it's not just about what you say, but how you say it. A calm, friendly tone might work well in a casual conversation, but a firmer, more authoritative tone might be necessary when addressing a team during a crisis. The Stoics believed in observing and reflecting on the needs of the moment and responding accordingly, a principle that remains timeless. Even in challenging situations such as disagreements or negotiations, adapting to your audience can be a game changer. Let's say you're in a heated debate with a colleague. If they're speaking emotionally, responding with cold logic might escalate the tension. Instead, acknowledging their feelings with a phrase like, "I can see this is really important to you," can diffuse the intensity and create space for a more productive discussion. Adapting to your audience is not about being manipulative. It's about respecting others enough to communicate in ways that resonate with them. This approach fosters trust, reduces misunderstandings, and strengthens your ability to influence and inspire. By practicing this Stoic-inspired principle, you demonstrate not only emotional intelligence, but also a commitment to fostering meaningful and respectful connections. Over time, this adaptability becomes second nature, empowering you to navigate diverse interactions with grace and effectiveness. Number 5. Speak with conviction. When you speak, your words carry weight, but how much weight depends largely on the conviction behind them. Conviction is not just about volume or passion, it's about speaking with certainty, clarity, and confidence, and an unshakable belief in what you're saying. It's the difference between someone hesitantly suggesting an idea and someone confidently declaring, "This is the way forward." People are naturally drawn to confidence because it signals competence and trustworthiness. Think about a time when someone spoke with conviction and how it made you feel. Maybe it was a teacher explaining a complex concept or a friend sharing a bold idea they were passionate about. Their confidence likely inspired you to believe in their message, even if you weren't entirely sure at first. That's the power of conviction. It not only makes your words more impactful, but also influences how others perceive and respond to you. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed in speaking only when necessary and ensuring that their words were grounded in truth and reason. If you think about it, conviction often comes from preparation and clarity. When you're clear about what you stand for, your words naturally carry more power. For example, imagine you're pitching a project at work. Instead of saying, "I think this could be a good idea," try saying, "This is the solution that will achieve our goals." That slight shift in tone and phrasing changes how your message is received. It moves from possibility to certainty, which is much harder to ignore. Speaking with conviction doesn't mean shutting down dialogue or being inflexible. It's about presenting your ideas with confidence while remaining open to other perspectives. If someone challenges your viewpoint, listen thoughtfully and respond with the same assured tone. For instance, if a colleague says, "I'm not sure this will work," a response like, "I hear your concerns, but here's why this approach is effective," shows both confidence and respect. Another key aspect of speaking with conviction is your body language and tone. Even the most well-thought-out words can lose their impact if delivered with hesitation or uncertainty. Practice speaking in a steady, calm voice with a slight downward inflection at the end of your sentences. This signals authority and finality. Pair that with confident posture, standing tall, maintaining steady eye contact, and using purposeful gestures, and your words will resonate even more. Let's not forget that conviction isn't just for formal settings. It plays a crucial role in everyday interactions as well. For example, if a friend asks for advice and you respond with hesitation, they might doubt your suggestion. But if you reply with confidence, even a simple statement like, "I think this is the best choice for you," can provide reassurance and clarity. Stoicism teaches us that conviction comes from aligning our words with our principles. When you truly believe in what you're saying, it shows. Your authenticity shines through, making it easier for others to trust and respect you. This is why self-reflection is so important. The more you understand your values and priorities, the more naturally conviction will flow into your speech. In a world where so many voices compete for attention, speaking with conviction is a powerful way to stand out. It's not about being the loudest or the most aggressive. It's about being clear, confident, and unwavering in your message. Whether you're leading a meeting, sharing your ideas, or simply offering a kind word, let your conviction show. It's not just about being heard. It's about being remembered. Number 6, use confident tones. There's something undeniably magnetic about the way someone speaks when their tone carries confidence. It's not just about what's being said, but how it's delivered that makes all the difference. A confident tone is steady, deliberate, and reassuring, signaling to your audience that you know what you're talking about and believe in it fully. It's a skill that anyone can cultivate, and when you do, it changes the way people perceive and respond to you. Picture this. You're explaining an idea to a group, and your voice wavers slightly, trailing off at the end of sentences. Even if your idea is brilliant, the lack of certainty in your tone can make others question it. Now imagine delivering the same idea with a calm, clear voice, maintaining an even volume, and finishing each sentence with conviction. It doesn't just sound better, it feels more trustworthy. People naturally gravitate towards those who seem assured because it inspires confidence in them as well. The Stoics valued control over the self, and that includes how we communicate. They believed in tempering emotions, ensuring that words were spoken with clarity and purpose. A confident tone reflects this control. It shows that you're not ruled by doubt or anxiety, but are instead grounded in your message. This doesn't mean you need to be loud or forceful. Confidence often lies in subtlety. A measured, steady tone can carry more weight than a raised voice ever could. Let's take a common scenario, giving feedback. If you're speaking to a colleague about something they need to improve, using a hesitant tone can undermine your message. They might focus more on your uncertainty than the feedback itself. On the other hand, delivering the same message with a balanced tone, firm but not harsh, conveys both authority and care. For example, saying, "I believe you can improve in this area, and here's how I think you can do it." With a steady voice shows that you're invested in their growth, not just pointing out flaws. Tone also plays a huge role in conflict resolution. Imagine two people arguing, their voices rising as they try to outshout each other. Now picture someone stepping into that situation with a calm, confident tone, saying, "Let's take a moment to listen to each other." That single statement can shift the energy of the conversation entirely. Confidence in tone isn't just about asserting yourself. It's also about bringing calm and control to chaotic situations. Even in personal settings, the way you use your tone can make a big difference. Think about comforting a friend who's going through a tough time. If you speak softly, but with steady assurance, saying something like, "You're going to get through this, and I'm here to support you," your tone alone can offer a sense of stability and hope. To develop a confident tone, start by slowing down your speech. Rushing through words often makes you sound unsure. Pausing between key points not only gives your audience time to absorb your message, but also projects calmness. Practice lowering your voice slightly at the end of sentences, which conveys certainty and finality. Pay attention to your breathing as well. A steady rhythm helps maintain a composed tone even under pressure. Confidence in tone is about more than just sounding good. It's about embodying a sense of control and intention. It reflects your inner state, aligning perfectly with the Stoic ideal of self-mastery. When you speak with a confident tone, you're not just sharing information, you're inviting trust, fostering respect, and creating a space where your words can truly resonate. It's a skill that takes practice, but yields incredible results, transforming not just how others hear you, but how they remember and regard you. Number 7. Utilize pauses effectively. Silence, when used intentionally, can be just as powerful as words. In fact, pauses in conversation or speech often have a greater impact than we realize. A pause gives your audience time to reflect, process and anticipate what's coming next. It's a skillful tool that adds depth to your communication, making your words carry more weight. In Stoic philosophy, the practice of measured thought and deliberate action is highly emphasized, and this applies beautifully to how we use pauses in our conversations. Think about a great storyteller. They don't rush through their tales. Instead, they pause at key moments just before revealing an exciting twist or delivering an important lesson. That brief silence builds anticipation and draws the listener in, making the moment more memorable. You can apply this same principle in your everyday interactions. Whether you're explaining an idea, making a point in a meeting, or even telling a joke, a well-placed pause can enhance the impact of your message. In conversations, pauses can also convey confidence. If someone asks you a challenging question, taking a moment before you answer shows that you're thoughtful and composed, not rattled or defensive. Contrast that with rushing to respond without thinking, which might come across as uncertain or even careless. A pause says, "I'm considering this carefully because it matters." Pauses aren't just about giving others time to absorb your words, they're also about giving yourself time to reflect. Imagine you're in a debate or negotiation and the discussion is becoming heated. Instead of jumping in with a quick retort, take a breath. Pause and then respond. That brief moment can help you choose your words more carefully, ensuring your response aligns with your goals and values. This practice mirrors the Stoic approach of responding to situations with reason and control, rather than impulsivity. Even in public speaking, where silence might feel awkward, pauses are invaluable. For example, after stating a critical point, pause for a couple of seconds. Let's say you're presenting a strategy to your team. This plan will not only save us time, pause, it will also increase our efficiency by 30%. That moment of silence emphasizes the importance of what you just said, giving it a chance to sink in. Pauses can also signal that you're actively listening. When someone finishes speaking, resisting the urge to immediately jump in with your response shows respect for their words. A brief pause before replying demonstrates that you're taking the time to consider their perspective, fostering trust and mutual understanding. Even in storytelling or casual conversations, pauses can create more engaging interactions. Picture telling a story to a group of friends, and then, just as we thought the hike couldn't get any worse, pause. We heard the sound of thunder. That moment of silence heightens the suspense, pulling your audience deeper into the experience. It's a small technique, but incredibly effective in keeping people invested. Practicing the art of the pause requires patience and self-awareness. In today's fast-paced world, where conversations often feel like a race to see who can speak the most, intentionally slowing down can feel unnatural at first, but the benefits are worth it. Pauses allow you to communicate with clarity, intention, and impact, all qualities of a confident and thoughtful speaker. Number 8. Leverage influence wisely. Influence is a tool, and like any tool, its impact depends on how it's used. It can build bridges or burn them, inspire others or manipulate them. Using influence wisely isn't just about getting others to do what you want. It's about fostering respect, trust, and positive outcomes for everyone involved. The Stoics believed in the principle of leading by example and acting in harmony with reason and virtue, making wise influence a cornerstone of their philosophy. Imagine you're in a leadership role at work. You have the authority to delegate tasks and make decisions. Now you could demand that your team follows orders without question, but what does that achieve? Likely resentment or compliance without real engagement. On the other hand, if you use your influence to inspire collaboration, explaining why certain tasks are critical, seeking input and recognizing contributions, you create an environment where people feel valued and motivated. Your influence then becomes a force for unity and productivity. Consider a mentor-mentee relationship. A mentor holds significant influence over their mentee's personal and professional growth. When a mentor uses that influence to guide with encouragement and constructive feedback, it empowers the mentee to grow and achieve their potential. This reflects the Stoic idea of acting with the greater good in mind, using influence not to control, but to elevate others. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and influence falls firmly within that realm. You can't control how others react, but you can control how you present your ideas and how you lead by example. For instance, if you're trying to encourage sustainable practices in your community, you'll likely have more success showing how you've implemented those practices in your own life than simply telling others what to do. People respect action over words, and influence is most effective when it's rooted in authenticity. Let's also talk about influence in moments of conflict. When emotions are high, the temptation to dominate the conversation or force a resolution can be strong. But leveraging influence wisely means taking a step back, listening to all sides, and guiding the discussion toward a constructive outcome. For example, in a disagreement with a friend, calmly stating, "I want to understand your perspective better before we move forward," can de-escalate tensions and demonstrate your commitment to the relationship. This approach not only resolves the immediate conflict, but also strengthens the bond of mutual respect. Another dimension of influence is understanding its ripple effect. Every decision you make, every action you take, has the potential to impact others far beyond the immediate situation. If you're a parent, the way you handle challenges and interact with others becomes a blueprint for your children. If you're a manager, your attitude toward challenges sets the tone for your team. This awareness is vital to using influence responsibly and ethically. Wisely leveraging influence also involves knowing when not to use it. Sometimes stepping back and letting others take the lead is the most effective way to inspire growth and innovation. Learn by allowing others to shine. You show confidence in their abilities, which often leads to stronger relationships and better results. Ultimately, using influence wisely is about aligning your actions with your values and considering the well-being of those around you. It's not about control or personal gain, but about creating a positive impact that endures. The Stoics believed that true leadership comes from serving others and acting in harmony with nature, which in today's terms means being mindful, ethical, and empathetic in how we use our power. When you approach influence as a responsibility rather than a privilege, it transforms your interactions. You become someone others not only respect, but also trust to guide them toward better outcomes. This kind of influence doesn't fade. Learn more at www.plasticscar.com. It creates a legacy of integrity and wisdom that continues to inspire long after the moment has passed. Thank you for joining me today on this journey through Stoic wisdom and leadership. Remember, the true measure of our influence lies not in the extent of our power, but in the integrity of our actions. Let's strive to lead lives that not only command respect, but also enrich the lives of those around us. If you're eager to dive deeper into the Stoic way of living, check out the next video on your screen, where we explore how Stoicism can transform your everyday life. Have you ever noticed that the most successful people rarely talk about what they're working on? They don't boast, they don't explain, and they certainly don't seek validation. Meanwhile, those who make the most noise often achieve the least. The world is full of empty promises and unfinished plans. But now, imagine this. You don't have to say a word. You don't need to prove yourself. You simply focus quietly, relentlessly, getting better every single day. And then one day, when people finally take notice, you are already miles ahead. The doubt, the skepticism, the dismissive looks, they all fade away, replaced by a single question. How did they do it? This is the power of silence. No arguments, no explanations, just results. Stoicism teaches us that instead of seeking recognition, we should let our actions speak for themselves. And if you are ready to turn silence into your greatest advantage, then stay with me. Let's get started. Number 1, let go of the urge to explain yourself. Have you ever watched a lion in the wild? It doesn't need to roar constantly to prove its dominance. A single glance, a slow, deliberate step, and the entire savannah knows who is in control. A dog, on the other hand, barks incessantly, desperate for attention, eager to make its presence known in life. Many people choose the way of the dog, constantly justifying, explaining, and clarifying themselves to be understood. But the Stoics, they chose silence. They focused on action, not words. And in doing so, they let the world draw its own conclusions. Why do we feel such a strong urge to explain ourselves? Because we fear being misunderstood, judged, or misrepresented. We worry that if we don't set the record straight, people will form the wrong impression of us. But here's the truth. Few people realize those who truly understand you don't need an explanation. And those who don't want to understand you, no amount of explaining will ever change their minds. The more you justify yourself, the more you reveal your insecurity. The silent admission that your words alone aren't strong enough to stand on their own. Epictetus once said, if someone speaks badly of you, do not defend yourself against the accusations, but reply, you obviously don't know about my other vices, or else you would have mentioned them as well. This is psychological warfare at its finest, not only refusing to engage with criticism, but embracing it with such unshakable confidence that it leaves your critics disarmed. When you stop explaining, you place the burden of interpretation on others. They expect a reaction, but you give them nothing. And in that void, their minds race, searching for answers. So how can you practice this? First, learn to resist the impulse to react immediately. When someone questions or challenges you, pause. Don't answer right away. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is my explanation truly necessary, or is it just my ego seeking validation? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize your words wouldn't have changed anything anyway. Second, let your actions speak if you are truly skilled. You don't need to say it. If you are truly honest, you don't need to prove it. A great fighter doesn't scream, I am the strongest. He simply steps into the ring and lets his punches do the talking. Third, use silence as a psychological weapon. When people expect a response, let them wait. When they don't get one, they will start questioning themselves. They will analyze, they'll overthink, they'll wonder, and in that wondering, they will assign you a power far greater than anything you could have explained yourself. But don't mistake this for arrogance or avoidance. Staying silent doesn't mean you ignore the truth or avoid responsibility. It simply means you refuse to let your mind be controlled by the need for approval. Silence is not weakness. It is the mark of someone who is in control of themselves. And here's the paradox: when you stop explaining, you don't just become more mysterious, you become more respected. People start seeing you differently. They stop underestimating you because they realize you don't need their validation, and the world, so used to those who beg to be heard, becomes captivated by the presence of someone who doesn't need to say a word. Are you ready to try the next time someone demands an explanation? Just smile. Hold their gaze, say nothing. Let them wonder, and you'll see sometimes silence is the most powerful answer of all. Number 2, stay focused and let attention find you. Stoics don't believe in seeking attention. They believe in fulfilling their duty, keeping their mind steady amidst life's turbulence. When you focus on your work without worrying about who's watching, you become an anomaly in a world obsessed with noise, and paradoxically, that very anomaly makes you stand out. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. The greatest revenge is improving yourself to the world." It's realizing you don't need to prove anything at all. When you are truly grounded, the right things will come to you naturally. But how do you stay focused in a world addicted to validation? How do you resist the pull of attention-seeking and stay true to yourself first? Imagine your mind as a lamp. If you direct its light outward, trying to shine, for others it becomes weak, scattered, and easily swallowed by the surrounding darkness. But if you turn it inward, sharpening your skills, refining your character, that light will grow so strong that it becomes impossible to ignore. This is the difference between someone who merely craves recognition and someone who genuinely deserves it. The world is full of people caught up in fake busyness, rushing around, but going nowhere. They spend more time broadcasting what they're doing than actually doing it. But look at the true masters of their craft. The philosophers, artists, athletes, great entrepreneurs, they don't waste energy proving themselves. They simply do the work. When a true fighter steps into the ring, he doesn't need to shout about his strength. It's already embedded in every punch. When a person holds real value, they don't chase attention. Attention finds them. Focus is not just a strategy, it's a personal revolution. Ask yourself, if you stopped worrying about what others think, what could you achieve? If you dedicated yourself fully to mastering your craft, sharpening your intellect, and becoming the best version of yourself, what would happen? The answer is simple. You would become someone the world cannot ignore. But remember, focus does not mean isolation. You don't have to live like a hermit, but you also shouldn't waste your energy on meaningless distractions. Society encourages you to speak, to flaunt, to constantly showcase yourself, but sometimes silence and actions speak the loudest. A truly focused person isn't just quiet, they let their silence create impact. So what will you choose? Will you keep chasing recognition, or will you step back, stay silent, and let the world come to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious about your decision, and if you want to keep exploring deeper insights with me, hit subscribe so that the next time I discover something meaningful, you won't miss it. Number 3, your silence is an opportunity for deep self-awareness. Silence is not frightening. What lies beneath it is what unsettles us when external noise fades away. We are left alone with our minds. Unresolved thoughts, suppressed emotions, and lingering questions we've avoided for too long. That is why so many people seek distractions, meaningless conversations, the constant hum of notifications, background music while working. Anything to escape silence, but to those who truly understand its value, silence is not something to fear. It is an opportunity. Stoicism does not revere silence simply because it projects strength or intrigues others to Stoics. Silence is a doorway, an entry into the inner world where one can observe oneself without interference from the outside. Imagine your mind as a dark room if you fill it with noise. If you open the windows to let in distractions, you will not see what's inside. But if you turn off the sounds, close the doors, and let your eyes adjust, every detail in the room gradually becomes visible. Silence works the same way. It helps you see yourself more clearly. Yet facing yourself is not always pleasant. In moments of quiet, forgotten thoughts may resurface. You may come face to face with fears you have long ignored, with desires you've never dared to admit. You may realize that you are unhappy with your job, that your current relationship is merely a compromise, that the dreams you once had have long been abandoned. And that is the most crucial moment, because only by recognizing these truths can you begin to change. Only by ceasing to run from yourself can you find real answers. Stoics did not seek silence because it was beautiful or mystical. They sought it because in it they could see themselves with complete honesty. A perfect example of this is Marcus Aurelius amidst wars, political struggles, and the weight of an empire. He still carved out time to write meditations, not as a public declaration or a teaching tool, but as a personal dialogue with himself. His writings stand as powerful proof that even an emperor needed silence to reflect and preserve clarity of mind. So how can you use silence as a tool for self-awareness? Try setting aside a moment each day, just 5 minutes to sit in absolute silence. No phone, no music, no voices, just you and your thoughts. At first you may feel restless, even uncomfortable, but if you persist, you will begin to notice what is truly happening in your mind. You will see the thoughts that replay endlessly, the worries without resolution, the small joys you've overlooked. And most importantly, you will start to distinguish between what you genuinely want and what the world has conditioned you to believe you want. The real question is, are you willing to sit down and face yourself? Are you ready to embrace silence as a teacher rather than an enemy? Or will you continue to flee from it? filling every empty space with external noise just to avoid hearing the voice within. Next time you feel the urge to drown out the silence with small talk, a familiar song, or yet another random video, pause. Let silence find you. Listen to it. You may be surprised by what it reveals. Number 4, not everything is worth your reaction. Have you ever found yourself drawn into meaningless arguments, hurtful words, or situations that only drain your energy? Have you ever had someone deliberately provoke you, instantly igniting a surge of anger within? In those very moments, your ability to choose your reaction determines whether you are in control or merely a puppet pulled by the strings of others' emotions. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You always have the power of not having an opinion." That means you don't have to engage in every argument. You don't have to respond to every provocation, and most importantly, not everything is worth your mental energy. Think of a chess master. He doesn't move a pawn just because his opponent did. He calculates, knowing that not every move deserves his attention. Your mind is like a grand chessboard. Every reaction is a move, and sometimes the strongest move is making none at all. But how do we apply this in daily life? Start with a simple rule before reacting to anything. Ask yourself, does this truly matter? A stranger cutting you off in traffic, a negative comment on social media, a co-worker's bad attitude, are they really worth your peace? If the answer is no, then let it pass like the wind. This isn't about being passive or indifferent. It's about choosing where to invest your energy. Think about it. Who is stronger, the one who yells in anger or the one who walks away unshaken? The loudest person in the room is often the weakest. True strength lies in the ability to remain unaffected. Your silence will confuse those who seek to provoke you. They expect a reaction, a battle, but when you don't respond, they are left alone with their own emptiness. And here's the turning point that few realize. When you learn not to react to trivial matters, you don't just protect your mind, you build an invisible authority. When others can't predict your thoughts, they start respecting you. When you don't let anger take over, you become the one in control. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your composure speaks volumes. Try this today. When someone irritates you, don't react immediately. When you feel the urge to argue, pause for a second and ask yourself, is this worth it? You'll soon realize that most things that bother us are insignificant. And when you stop being consumed by the small things, you gain time and energy for what truly matters. Self-growth, enjoying life, and chasing bigger goals. Silence is not a sign of weakness. It's a mark of an unshakable mind. People can say whatever they want, but you always have the power to choose how you respond. And sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all, because people may doubt your words, but they cannot deny your actions. You can argue, explain, or persuade, but ultimately, what you do speaks louder than anything you say. When words lose their weight, action becomes your voice, and that is when you realize steadfastness, effort, and tangible results hold far greater power than any promise or declaration. Let's dive deeper into this in the next lesson, where words become meaningless without action to back them up. Number 5, let actions prove what words cannot did. You know, humans have a strange obsession with persuasion when misunderstood. We feel the urge to explain when doubted. We want to justify ourselves, but this is a trap. The more we speak, the more we risk losing our power. Think of a lightning bolt. It doesn't announce itself, nor does it boast about its strength. It simply strikes sudden, decisive, undeniable. One moment is enough to prove everything. Likewise, those who are truly powerful don't need to advertise. They don't argue about their worth. They simply act. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." But why is action more persuasive than words? Words can be distorted. You can shout that you are honest, but who will believe you without proof? You can claim perseverance, but what does that mean? If you've never followed through on anything, actions, however, are irrefutable. Someone says they wake up early and work hard. Don't believe them. Look at their results. Someone declares their courage. Don't listen. Watch what they do. When faced with adversity, people don't judge you by what you say. They judge you by what you leave behind. Let your presence be marked by something undeniable. The ones who say the least about themselves are often the ones who intrigue others the most. Picture a room full of people trying to impress, bragging, debating, desperately proving their worth. And then there's one person sitting quietly, not seeking attention. That's the one who commands the most intrigue. Why? Because humans are drawn to what they can't fully grasp. When you are too predictable, you lose value. But when you let others observe, discover, and interpret you on their own, they're drawn to you in the most natural way. Don't tell people your plans. Show them your results. So how do you live by this principle? When criticized, don't react immediately. Let your actions speak for themselves. A shift in results is far more powerful than any argument. When others boast, stay patient. Real success isn't found in words. It's built in silent effort. Do something no one expects, no announcement, no display. Just results that leave people speechless. There's a question you can ask yourself every day. If I were forbidden from speaking about my values, would my actions be enough to prove them? Make sure your answer isn't found in words, but in the way you live. And when the world wonders about you, when they can't predict your next move, that's when you are truly in control. Now, congratulations, you've made it halfway through the journey. Not everyone has the patience to be still, to listen, to reflect, but you've chosen a different path. The path of focus and understanding. Mark this moment by commenting, embrace stillness as a commitment to yourself that you are stepping into mastery over silence and inner strength. I look forward to seeing your mark, but don't leave just yet. Each part of this video is a puzzle piece, and only by seeing the full picture will you understand how to wield silence as a powerful weapon. Stay until the end. Number 6. Embrace solitude to find clarity. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Silence is not a place outside of us. It is a state within, but how many people truly dare to face themselves in solitude? Most fear the quiet because it forces them to confront the questions they've long avoided. Who am I really? What am I living for? Am I on the right path or merely drifting along with the expectations of others? Embracing solitude does not mean becoming a recluse. It means taking time to clear the mind like a lake, settling after a storm in that stillness. The noise of the world fades and what truly matters begins to emerge. No longer are you a puppet pulled by the strings of external chaos. You become the master of yourself. Have you ever noticed that the most important decisions in life often come from moments spent alone? When distractions disappear, your mind and intuition finally have the space to speak. Look at history's greatest minds, the philosophers, inventors, and artistic geniuses. They all found strength in solitude. Nikola Tesla once said, "The mind is sharper and keener in seclusion and uninterrupted solitude." No big laboratory is needed in which to think. This doesn't mean you must abandon society. It means you must learn to carve out moments of stillness for reflection. If you are constantly surrounded by noise, how can you hear your own voice? If you never step away from the crowd, how can you know whether you are truly yourself or just an echo of others' opinions? Paradoxically, the more comfortable you become with solitude, the stronger you grow in relationships. A person who does not fear being alone cannot be easily manipulated. When you no longer seek attention, you naturally command respect. When you no longer feel the need to prove yourself through words, others will begin to wonder about you. What is he thinking? What is she planning? And that is how silence becomes an invisible force. But how do you harness solitude to gain clarity? Start by setting aside time each day to turn off the noise. No phone, no social media, no conversations, just you with yourself. Take a walk alone, write in a journal, or simply sit in silence and observe your thoughts as they pass. At first you may feel restless, but soon you'll discover a deep sense of peace. The world will remain chaotic, but you will no longer be swept away by it. you will learn to see things with greater clarity, unaffected by judgment or expectation. Ask yourself this: if all external noise disappeared today, what would you hear from within? Are you truly living by your own values or merely reacting to the world around you? If you cannot be alone with yourself, can you say you truly know who you are? The power of silence is not just about holding your tongue. It is about listening to the world, to others, and most importantly, to yourself. It is not an act of laziness or avoidance, but a deliberate strategy. Look at those who are truly successful. They are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who know when to step back and observe. When you learn to value silence, you no longer need to prove yourself with words. Your actions and presence will speak for you, so the next time you feel lost in the crowd, step away, not to escape, but to return to yourself, not to disappear, but to be fully present. Grant yourself the gift of silence, for it is in that stillness that you will finally hear the things that matter most. Number 7, follow your path and let growth happen. We live in an era where everyone wants to showcase themselves instantly. People flaunt their successes, embellish their lives, and worse, seek validation from those who don't even matter. But the wise do not follow this path. They are like warriors walking through the mist, silent, composed, and appearing only when they are truly ready. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This is not just advice, it is a wake-up call. Look around: how many people talk about their dreams but never act on them? How many debate success but refuse to put in the hard work? The great ones don't speak much. They let their actions do the talking. But what does this mean in practice? It means you need a method, not a performance. Whenever you take action, ask yourself, am I doing this to improve or just to be seen? If your motivation is applause, you are on the wrong path. If it is self-mastery, you are on the right one. Sometimes you don't need to show up at every debate, every event, or every meaningless conversation. Let the loud ones entertain themselves with their noise. As for you, spend that time sharpening your skills, refining your mind, and strengthening your will. Disappearing temporarily is not weakness. It is preparation for a stronger return. Here's an interesting paradox. The more you talk about your goals, the less you act on them. When you announce your dreams, your brain perceives it as partial fulfillment and your drive diminishes. Instead, let people only realize what you've been working on when the results are undeniable. Valuable things don't come overnight. A seed doesn't become a mighty tree in a single day if you truly want to build something lasting. Accept that the process will be slow, full of challenges and riddled with moments of doubt. But that is what sets you apart. Now take a moment to reflect on your own life. How many times have you felt the need to prove yourself to others? How often have you let external judgment steer you off course? If today you chose to stop worrying about public opinion, how much further could you go? Silence is not passivity. It is the ultimate strength. The wise do not chase the crowd. They simply walk steadily, purposefully, and when they finally emerge, the world is left wondering, how did they achieve that? If you believe in the power of focus in pursuing your path without the need for constant validation, leave a small sign, like a nod of agreement. Perhaps somewhere out there, someone is also walking their quiet journey, and your support might just give them the motivation to keep going. Number 8, patience is power. Observe before you speak. There's an irony in this world. The more a person knows, the less they speak. Those with true power rarely feel the need to prove themselves with words. They don't rush into arguments or hastily counter opinions. Instead, they quietly observe, reflect, and only speak when necessary, and when they do, everyone listens. This isn't mysticism or mere psychological trickery. It's a strategy. The strategy of those who understand that patience is not passive waiting, but active observation, allowing them to seize the perfect moment. Imagine a chess grandma. He doesn't rush to move his piece. The moment his opponent makes a move, he watches, analyzes, anticipates the next steps. A single well-timed move can change the entire game. Likewise in conversation. The one who observes before speaking always holds the advantage. Every time you feel the urge to speak, pause and ask yourself, what is the other person really saying? Not just their words, but their emotions, motivations, and the things they leave unsaid. Will my response bring clarity, or will it only complicate things further? If it adds no value, why say it? Am I speaking from a place of emotion, a single impulsive remark? Spoken in anger can have consequences you'll later regret. When you take time to observe, you not only understand others better, but you also gain deeper self-awareness. You learn when to speak, when to stay silent, and most importantly, when to let silence speak for you. We often assume that the person who talks the most is the most powerful, but in reality, the one who controls the conversation is not the speaker, but the one whose words others wait for. Think about the powerful figures you admire. Are they the kind who blurt out every thought in their head, or are they composed, deliberate, and only speak when it truly matters? A prime example is Warren Buffett as one of the greatest investors of all time. He is known for his calm demeanor and emotional control in crucial situations. Buffett believes that one should never react impulsively under pressure. He always takes the time to observe before making a decision. His mentor Tom Murphy once taught him an invaluable lesson. You can always tell someone to go to hell tomorrow. You haven't missed the opportunity. Just forget about it for a day. If you feel the same way tomorrow, tell them, but don't spout off in a moment of anger. This principle applies not just in business, but in everyday life. In a debate, if you remain silent and let the other person speak fully, they may contradict themselves in a meeting. If you listen instead of reacting immediately, you will catch details others overlook before saying anything. Take a deep breath, count to 3, and then decide if speaking is truly necessary. This prevents impulsive reactions. Sometimes what matters is not just what someone says, but how they say it. Do they sound anxious, defensive? Understanding this allows you to respond more effectively. In a negotiation or argument, try holding your silence just a little longer than usual. The other person may grow uncomfortable and reveal more than they intended. If you have an idea or counterpoint, write it down first. This helps organize your thoughts and prevents unnecessary speech. You don't always need to speak. Sometimes silence is the most powerful response. Patience doesn't just help you avoid mistakes, it makes you formidable. When you learn to observe instead of react, you realize that in a world where everyone wants to be heard, the one who stays silent holds the greatest power. So next time you feel the urge to speak immediately, try stopping. Let others wonder what you are thinking. Let them fill the silence you leave behind, because when you say nothing, you may be saying more than anyone else. Number 9, remove distractions and sharpen your mind. The world today is caught in a storm of information. News floods every corner. Phones buzz relentlessly, and opposing opinions clash without end. Everyone is fighting for attention, but look at those who rise to the top. They never chase the noise. They are the silent ones in the room. The ones who disappear from social media for weeks, even months, working in the shadows. While no one watches only to re-emerge with results no one expected, they do not allow distractions to control them, because they understand one simple truth. If you are distracted, you have already lost. Epic. Hughes once said, if you wish to be a writer, write. It sounds simple, but it holds a profound truth. If you want to achieve something, do it. No excuses, no delays, no outside interference. But how many people truly live by this? Most remain trapped in the endless loop of information and distraction, only to look back and realize they never actually started what they once dreamed of. This is not just about turning off your phone or deleting apps. Those are surface-level solutions. The real question is, are you willing to become invisible, to step away from meaningless chatter, to stop responding instantly, to refuse to pour your energy into things that hold no long-term value, to appear only when it truly matters, so that when you speak, the world listens? There is a principle that the greatest minds follow every day. They carve out time to completely detach from the world, not just by avoiding their phones, but by truly disappearing. A locked room, a space where no one can reach them. This is where deep work happens, where nothing can pull them out of their focus. The most successful entrepreneurs, elite athletes, and genius artists all have this untouchable zone. Do you? If so, how has it changed you? If not, what's holding you back? Is it the constant busyness, the fear of being forgotten, or simply the habit of staying plugged into the noise? Share your thoughts, because sometimes just pausing for a moment to reflect brings you one step closer to the focus you've been searching for. The world demands that you stay online, respond instantly, and always keep up. Don't play that game. Show up only when you have something truly valuable. Make people wonder, what is this person doing that no one knows about? This not only sharpens your focus, but also creates a powerful allure. When you are unpredictable, you become a mystery. People want to unravel. Not everything is worth your attention. When the latest news explodes and people rush into heated debates, ask yourself, does this truly matter? The Stoics understood that most distractions are meaningless. Focus on what you can control and let the rest fade away. Those who speak less but think deeply always spark curiosity. When you pause amid the chaos and choose silence, you are not weak. You are in control. When you don't reveal your plans, when you don't talk too much about what you are about to do, you leave others wondering. And while they're still speculating, you are already miles ahead. When you start cutting out distractions, you don't just improve yourself, you become magnetic. When you show up less often, your presence carries more weight. When you are no longer easily accessible, your value increases. You are no longer just another voice in the crowd. You become the one they can't predict, can't understand, but desperately want to. So the question is, are you willing to disappear from what doesn't matter, to focus on what truly does? Are you ready to make people wonder? Rather than constantly explaining who you are, be silent, stay focused, and let them wonder. We've just explored 9 powerful principles that reveal the true strength of silence, a force more profound than words. When you speak less and do more, when you stop seeking validation and instead focus on your own path, you'll realize something remarkable. The world starts wondering about you. No more endless explanations. No more futile debates. Just action, perseverance, and undeniable results. Life is a long game, and those who master it understand the power of quiet resilience. Not everyone will see your efforts, but one day they won't be able to ignore your success. So keep moving forward. Stay focused. Let them wonder, because in the end, the loudest statement you can ever make is simply becoming who you were meant to be. If this video resonated with you and you haven't hit the like button yet, take a second to do so. It makes a huge difference. Drop a comment and share your thoughts. Have you ever felt like you were sinking into a relationship where day by day you lost pieces of yourself? At first, everything seemed perfect. A love that burned brightly, attention you had always longed for. But then boundaries began to blur. Your freedom and time were subtly stolen, and the other meaningful relationships in your life slowly faded away. Before I go any further, leave a like and a comment showing your passion for Stoicism. Comment like, I am Stoic. Let me ask you this. How does something that starts so beautifully become the source of pain and destruction? Why does evil creep in so silently and settle so deeply? Today we'll uncover 7 ways. Narcissistic relationships allow darkness to infiltrate and spread, unraveling the true nature of their destruction through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. We'll navigate this complex terrain, exposing the subtle tactics of narcissists and equipping you with the strength to confront and overcome them. What I'll share isn't just theoretical, it's drawn from real-life experiences and profound reflection. So stay present, listen closely, and don't miss a single step on this journey. Each strategy will reveal a new perspective, a vital lesson to help you protect and reclaim your sense of self. Walk with me to the end of this path where genuine liberation and peace await. Let's begin. Number 1. Start with charm and end in ruin. Evil rarely enters your life with a terrifying appearance. It begins subtly, intimately, and irresistibly, like the glow of an oil lamp in the darkness in a narcissistic relationship. This is the love-bombing phase, a dazzling display of affection, so convincing that you believe you've found true love, but this light is fleeting. It's a flame meant to lure, not to warm your heart. Think back to the last time someone made you feel remarkably special. Perhaps they locked eyes with you, spoke as if they'd known you forever, and showered you with tender messages, surprise gifts, and promises of eternal happiness. One woman recounted how her ex surprised her with a romantic evening complete with a speech declaring her as the most perfect woman he had ever met in that moment. She believed she was everything to him. What she didn't know was that these grand gestures were merely the prologue to a manipulative play, initial charm. No matter how enchanting, if driven by an intent to shatter your spirit, and life is evil masquerading as love, stoicism reminds us to look beyond appearances and examine the essence of things. Once trust and affection are secured, the narcissist subtly infiltrates your mind. Compliments grow scarce, replaced by veiled criticisms. Are you sure that's the right way to do it? I find your approach a bit odd at first. You might interpret these as constructive feedback. Over time you realize you are changing, not to grow, but to meet their expectations. One man recalled how his girlfriend constantly questioned his love, even hours after a romantic date. Initially, her inquiries felt like a need for reassurance, but they soon became demands to continually prove his affection, leaving him disconnected from what love truly meant. Epictetus wisely observed, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters in such a relationship." The critical factor isn't just what they say or do, but how you allow it to affect you. Unaware of the manipulation, you may unconsciously cede control over your life bit by bit. The collapse doesn't happen instantly. It's like a small crack in glass spreading until the entire surface shatters. Narcissists gradually consume your time, energy, and eventually your freedom. Acts of love morph into demands for control, criticisms, and endless conflicts. A woman once shared how she gave up a promising career because her husband convinced her that family is more important, but once she became fully dependent on him, she found herself needing his permission for even the smallest things like buying a cup of coffee. Seneca warned, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." Fear of losing the relationship, guilt, and the urge to meet their expectations force you to endure unnecessary pain. Slowly, you forget your dreams, values, and joys. What began as a subtle pinprick of evil has grown into a towering oak, its roots tightly gripping your life. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of seeing yourself clearly and honestly. When faced with such a relationship, ask yourself, am I truly receiving something good? Or is this taking more from me than it gives? A narcissistic relationship doesn't just destroy love. It consumes your work, friendships, finances, and every corner of your life. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By fortifying your mind, understanding your worth, and rejecting manipulation, you can escape this evil and rebuild your life. Remember, no love is worth more than your inner freedom and peace. Number 2, target empathic and agreeable people in the realm of relationships, especially those involving narcissists. Their lies are harsh but undeniable truth. They gravitate toward empathetic and accommodating individuals. These people, often with generous hearts, are willing to prioritize others' needs over their own. Yet this unconditional kindness makes them ideal targets for manipulation and control. Empathy viewed through the Stoic lens is more than just understanding others' emotions. It is a rational practice of discerning what is truly good versus what merely appears so true. Empathy isn't blind compassion that diminishes self-worth, but the ability to acknowledge another's pain while maintaining clarity of mind. Unfortunately, in reality, empathy is often misconstrued as unconditional surrender, a habit of putting others first without considering whether it's justified. When empathy falls into the hands of the undeserving, it ceases to be a virtue and becomes a vulnerability. Stoicism reminds us that every action, even those born of kindness, must be guided by wisdom and awareness. Without this foundation, empathy transforms from a guiding light into a shadow that obscures our resolve, paving the way for manipulation and harm. Narcissists are quick to recognize this to them. Empathetic individuals are like gold mines, people not only willing to endure, but feeling obligated to heal them. Imagine meeting someone new, charming and self-assured, who shares tales of deep personal wounds. Their words awaken your compassion, convincing you that you are uniquely equipped to help them heal over time. However, you realize these stories were not heartfelt confessions, but tools of manipulation. They do not seek healing, they crave control. You find yourself bearing their emotional burdens, their demands growing incessantly, leaving you drained and weary. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free," but in such relationships, mustering the courage to set boundaries is no small feat for empathetic individuals. Patience and tolerance often masquerade as virtues. They sacrifice, believing their concessions preserve harmony. Yet have you ever paused to ask, are these efforts truly building a relationship or merely fostering one-sided sacrifice that leads to loss? One story I recall is of a woman celebrated for her selflessness. She entered a relationship with a narcissist who initially lavished her with praise, making her feel indispensable, but soon the flattery turned into relentless demands. "If you truly love me, you'll do this for me," he would say. Each refusal was met with guilt-laden reproach, forcing her to relent. Her kindness, instead of being cherished, became a trap that stole her freedom and happiness. When you recognize your empathy is being exploited, it's vital to pause and ask yourself, is this sacrifice truly worth it? Am I losing myself to maintain this relationship? A key Stoic exercise involves distinguishing between what we can control and what we cannot. When dealing with a narcissist, you cannot change them, but you can set clear boundaries for yourself. This can be daunting, especially when you fear that standing firm may jeopardize the relationship. Yet consider this as a relationship worth preserving if it is destroying you. One young man's story offers a powerful example. He found himself entangled in a relationship with a narcissistic friend, believing it was his duty to save her from her struggles. But when he decided to establish boundaries, refusing to answer messages immediately or engaging in trivial arguments, her anger revealed her frustration at losing control over him. That decision not only freed him from a toxic relationship, but also brought him peace and autonomy. Empathy is not a flaw, but when unchecked, it becomes a tool for exploitation. Stoicism teaches that freedom comes not from pleasing others, but from living true to one's values. If you are an empathetic person, remember that your kindness is a precious gift, one that must be given selectively. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control in relationships with narcissists. Only by setting boundaries can you truly safeguard your inner strength and preserve your sense of self. Number 3, test the waters and take control. After exploiting your empathy and willingness to compromise to establish initial control. Narcissists don't stop there, they escalate to a more sophisticated tactic. Testing your limits. This is the phase where they begin to assess how much you are willing to endure, sacrifice, and tolerate to maintain the relationship. Subtle acts seemingly harmless, like light criticism or temporary emotional withdrawal, quickly escalate into larger manipulations where threats and control take center stage. At this point, it's no longer about holding your emotions hostage. It's about pushing you into a spiral where they dominate, and you find yourself proving your worth by clinging to a relationship that's no longer balanced when you beg them to stay. Even apologizing for things you didn't do wrong, you unknowingly hand them a powerful tool. The ability to control you. You become part of a manipulation cycle, reduced to being the keeper of the relationship, sacrificing yourself to prevent its collapse. Stoicism reminds us that the only thing truly within our control is ourselves. How we respond to threats and manipulation determines whether we become victims or remain steadfast. Whether with friends, family, or partners, relationships are long-term commitments that require patience, understanding, and continuous effort. They require us to sometimes accept people's flaws and our own, to communicate effectively, and to grow together through diverse life experiences. Stoicism teaches us that not every disagreement needs to be a conflict, and not every conflict needs to be a crisis. It's about the long-term view, building and maintaining strong bonds through consistent care and mutual respect. In all these scenarios, the underlying Stoic principle remains the same: perseverance. It's about not being swayed by temporary setbacks or fleeting successes, but remaining steadfast in your path. Just like a marathon runner who adjusts their stride according to the terrain, but keeps their eyes fixed on the distant horizon. We too must adjust our methods and strategies without losing sight of our larger goals. The marathon concept encourages us to think long-term, act with purpose, and live with intention. It's a reminder that worthwhile achievements require time, patience, and persistent effort. Whether we're talking about personal goals, professional endeavors, or relationships, applying this Stoic philosophy helps us navigate life with resilience and wisdom, cultivating integrity and leadership. Integrity and leadership are not just lofty ideals. They are practical virtues that can guide us in our daily actions and decisions, much like a compass steering a ship through stormy seas. Stoicism at its core teaches us that these virtues are essential for living a life of purpose and meaning. They're not about asserting dominance or moral superiority, but about consistently aligning our actions with our values. Consider the role of integrity in our personal lives. It's not just about telling the truth when it's convenient, but also about being honest with ourselves and others, even when it's difficult. It's about making choices that aren't just good for us, but right for everyone involved. I remember a time when I faced a tough decision in my career. I was offered a lucrative project that would have been great for my bank account, but didn't align with my ethical standards. Choosing to turn it down was a real test of my integrity. It was a moment where the Stoic teaching that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few once resonated deeply with me. The decision to reject the offer didn't just keep my conscience clear, but also reinforced my reputation as someone who doesn't compromise on core values for short-term gains. Leadership, similarly, is often misunderstood. It's not about titles or positions. It's about influence and the ability to guide others towards a better future. In the Stoic sense, leadership is about setting an example. It's about embodying the virtues you wish to see in others, like courage, justice, moderation, and wisdom. Let's say you're leading a team at work. True leadership is shown by how you handle pressure, how you treat your team members, and how you approach problems. It's about showing up, not just physically, but emotionally and ethically. It's about being a steady presence, a source of support, and a beacon of accountability. Stoicism teaches us to lead by example and to be the change we wish to see. This is incredibly powerful because when people see you living out your values, they are more likely to be influenced positively. This doesn't mean being perfect. Rather, it means being genuine and admitting mistakes when they happen. It's about striving to improve not only yourself, but also helping others around you to grow. Moreover, these virtues have a ripple effect. By practicing integrity and leadership in your own life, you inspire others to do the same. This creates a culture of trust and respect, whether it's within your family, your workplace, or your community. Each act of integrity is a stone thrown into a pond, creating ripples that extend far beyond the initial splash. In embracing these Stoic virtues, we find that leadership and integrity are deeply interconnected. You lead effectively by living truthfully. You inspire trust by being trustworthy. This alignment of thought, word, and deed is what builds lasting relationships and ultimately a fulfilling life. Navigating doubts with strategic Stoic planning. Doubts can be like shadows in the corners of our minds, creeping in when decisions need to be made or when challenges appear insurmountable. Stoicism, with its pragmatic and grounded approach, offers a powerful tool to dispel these doubts: meticulous planning. This Stoic practice isn't about predicting the future, but preparing for it in a way that aligns with our inner virtues and principles, ensuring that we're not swayed by fleeting emotions or external pressures. Imagine you're faced with a significant life decision, perhaps changing careers or moving to a new city. These moments often bring a surge of doubts. What if things don't work out? What if I regret my decision? This is where Stoic planning comes into play. It involves stepping back and evaluating the situation, not just from a place of fear, but from a standpoint of wisdom. What are the actual risks? What are the potential benefits? Stoicism teaches us to break down these decisions into manageable parts, to look at them through the lens of reason rather than emotion. For instance, when I was contemplating a major career shift, the uncertainty was overwhelming. Instead of succumbing to doubt, I turned to Stoic planning. I listed all possible outcomes, both good and bad, and then I planned for each scenario. I asked myself, what is the worst that can happen, and how can I prepare for it? This methodical approach helped transform my abstract fears into concrete steps I could manage. It wasn't just about mitigating risks, but also about reinforcing my resolve by preparing for all conceivable challenges. Moreover, Stoic planning involves setting realistic goals and creating a step-by-step roadmap to achieve them. This process itself is therapeutic because it shifts your focus from worrying about what might go wrong to actively working on what you can make right. For example, if your goal is to become more financially stable, Stoic planning would involve setting a budget, identifying ways to reduce unnecessary expenses, and perhaps finding additional sources of income. Each step is clear, achievable, and rooted in practicality. Another crucial aspect of Stoic planning is the preparation for emotional responses. Stoics are well aware that even the best plans can lead to unexpected outcomes. Therefore, they also prepare mentally for how to handle disappointments or setbacks. This is done through practices like negative visualization, where you imagine the worst-case scenario and mentally prepare for it. This might sound pessimistic, but it's actually about cultivating resilience and emotional stability. By considering these possibilities, you're less likely to be shaken if they do occur. Stoic planning also means revisiting and adjusting your plans as needed. It's about being flexible and adaptable, not rigidly attached to one path. Life is unpredictable, and our plans must be dynamic enough to accommodate changes. This adaptability is a key virtue in Stoicism, allowing us to maintain our composure and purpose even when external conditions shift. Building resilience through Stoic persistence. Persistence is a core virtue in Stoicism, and it's something that truly comes to life when we're tested by the trials and tribulations of our daily lives. Stoic persistence isn't about blind stubbornness or merely gritting your teeth and bearing it. It's about maintaining your course despite the challenges, knowing why you're enduring, and understanding the greater purpose behind your actions. Imagine you're working on a long-term project, something that's close to your heart, like writing a book, perhaps. The initial excitement gets you started, the ideas flow, and the pages begin to fill. But then, as often happens, the momentum slows. You face writer's block, criticism, or other distractions. This is where Stoic persistence shines. It's not about pushing through mindlessly, but about returning to your desk day after day, realigning yourself with your goal of completing that book, and reminding yourself why it matters to you. This form of persistence is deeply philosophical. It draws from the Stoic belief that our actions must be purposeful and aligned with our virtues. When you persist with a task, it's not just about finishing what you started. It's about embodying the virtues of discipline, resilience, and courage. These aren't just abstract qualities, but practical tools that guide your actions. For instance, discipline helps you set and stick to a daily writing schedule. Resilience allows you to bounce back from setbacks. And courage lets you share your writing with the world despite the fear of judgment. Moreover, Stoic persistence teaches us to focus on the process rather than the outcome. This shift in focus is powerful. Think about training for a marathon. If you fixate only on the finish line, the training can become a daunting, overwhelming task. But if you focus on each run, each step you take, and find joy in the improvement of your endurance and skill, the process becomes more fulfilling. The goal remains important, but it is the day-to-day persistence that will get you there, and that becomes rewarding in itself. This approach can be applied to overcoming personal struggles as well. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. I am Stoic for more.